Coming up this hour on American Graduate Day, from NBC News, Emmy Award-winning Chief Education Correspondent Rehema Ellis, and Emmy Award-winning anchor and producer Stone Phillips.
I'm Donna Fred Gregory, Commissioner of the Virgin Islands Department of Education and board member here at WTJX Channel 12. We're excited to be a part of American Graduate Day. Public media continues to make a difference in the lives of our students.
Hi, my name is Miral Cobb, and I'm founder and CEO of Illuminate, and it's an honor to be a part of American Graduate Day. I actually have a background in dance and choreography, and I also have a love for writing software. I've been writing code since I was 9 years old, and Illuminate is a company that brings dance and technology together. And right now we're here at the theater where we have our own off-Broadway show. What you'd see if you came to an Illuminate show in the heart of New York City is dancers in these light suits that have computers on their bodies, and everything that you see is actually made with code. It's a visual spectacular that wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for software development. For this reason, I'm a big advocate of organizations such as Made with Code and Girls Who Code. It encourages women and young girls to realize that being a software developer doesn't have to have all those male stigmas, those kind of antisocial stigmas. It can actually be a very exciting field, and these organizations help these girls feel like they're in a safe environment to really hone in on the skills that they need to be incredible software engineers. It's a great lifestyle, it's a great career, and it would be great to see more girls in code.
Control room that is making all the technology happen on this day for American Graduate Day. And that video of the illumination is just fantastic. Dancers with light suits, all made with code. Digital technology has had a deep impact on so many of the arts, including, of course, movies and web media, which helps spelling out the heading of our next hour: STEAM, Science, Engineering, Technology, Arts, and Math. Hi, everybody. I'm Rehema Ellis. While many of our young people are attracted to the arts, not enough are drawn to the science, technology, engineering, and math elements of the equation. So we decided to make that the primary focus of this hour. American students scored 23rd in math and 31st in science when compared with 65 other top industrial countries, an alarming statistic for a nation that put a man on the moon. That's one reason why President Obama set a priority of increasing the number of both students and teachers proficient in STEAM subjects. Two organizations working hard towards that goal are represented by 100K in 10 and Breakthrough Collaborative, both intricately connected. Joining me now are Maya Lundhagen, co-founder of 100K in 10, Breakthrough Collaborative's Executive Director, Joshua Lachs, and we call her Mo, but it's short for Maureen Yusuf-Morales, Senior Programmer for Breakthrough New York. Welcome to all of you. And Josh, I want to start with you. I want to talk about what is it about what's happening with us that makes this so important and why we've fallen behind other nations like China when it comes to science and math.
Yeah, it's a great question. And so, one of the things that Breakthrough Collaborative is doing with our partners at 100K in 10 is to make sure that we have an increased talent pool of prepared teachers, highly qualified teachers. And as we look at one of the areas of design, for example, and how that's being integrated with STEM education, you look at the Stanford Design School and what an impact they're making in terms of the K-12 education front. And so Breakthrough Collaborative has been an accelerator over the last 36 years and really preparing highly qualified, diverse teaching fellows from college across the country and preparing them in career for education and teaching.
Because we just haven't had enough teachers in this department.
Exactly.
Maya, I want to ask you about 100K in 10. What does the name stand for?
Great question. 100K in 10 stands for 100,000, that's 100K, in 10 years. And that's really a focus on getting 100,000 excellent STEM teachers into our schools in the next 10 years, but not just increasing the pipeline of folks moving into schools, but really supporting the teachers who are in our schools, making sure that great teachers stay in schools, that good teachers become even better, and that we're really fixing that leaky pipeline of great folks who come into the teaching profession and then slowly leak out.
It's an ambitious goal, no question, but how are you going to achieve it, and do you see it as something that is attainable?
We definitely see it as something that is attainable, and we're trying to reach it through what we're thinking of as a bit of an experiment. We have right now more than 200 organizations, including Breakthrough Collaborative. We're talking about nonprofits, universities and university systems, federal agencies, lots of folks focused on this goal of getting and keeping 100,000 STEM teachers by not just saying this is important, but really putting some action behind those words and committing to take action and working together in some new ways.
And one of the things you've got to do is try to figure out how to make it cool to kids, right?
Exactly.
How are you doing that?
We're doing it through a lot of different ways. The commitments that partners make toward the goal are really based on their unique strengths. So folks, for example, in the media industry are relying on their strengths to help make STEM approachable and cool. We're working, for example, with a group of folks formerly of The Onion magazine to really use humor, for example, in getting the message across that STEM teaching can be a really fun and rewarding and funny area of work, so a place that's really rewarding and using humor to really get people interested in STEM, lure them in and show them that this can be a really rewarding career for folks who have that interest in STEM and that real engagement in the content.
Now, 100K in 10 has been around since just 11 years. Joshua, you've been around much longer than that, 1978.
Yep.
Talk to me about your founding goals and how you see yourself moving in the direction that Maya's moving.
Yeah, so Breakthrough has been an accelerator attacking the opportunity gap from two distinct areas over the last 35 years. And we have a student mission and a teaching mission, and we take underserved, high aspiring, highly motivated middle schoolers and we put them through a multi-year tuition-free program. And we have a student teaching student model, and they get their teaching through our college teaching fellows, as we call them. And we recruit from across the country. We've got 25 sites across the country that do amazing work. It is truly a village. And this second part of our mission is to inspire the next generation of educators in this country. And 25% of our 1,000 teaching fellows over this last summer were STEM majors, and we're so proud of that.
And in fact, Mo, you decided to, after you were teaching for some years, you decided to get engaged in this in a real serious way, didn't you?
Absolutely. Well, I first entered my career in education through Breakthrough. I was a Breakthrough Teaching Fellow when I was 19 years old, and it totally inspired me to enter the classroom and begin my profession there. And since then, I have worked at the local level in New York City, and now I work on the national level training teachers.
And what is it that you do in the classroom? Kids love the electronics. We are digital natives that we've got right now, but what do you do to let them understand that they can do more than just play the games? They can really get engaged in creating the games and not just games.
Absolutely. So actually a lot of our students say that the first time they've really fallen in love with science has been in the Breakthrough classroom. We try to make our learning as hands-on as possible, and that means involving students from the first minute of the lesson to the last minute of the lesson and making sure that 100% of students are engaged throughout.
And Joshua, I want to know also, you talked about the importance of summer learning classes, and how does Breakthrough Collaborative address that to make certain there's no summer slide going on?
That's actually a primary reason for the work that we do to avoid the summer slide, but not just that, really, as I mentioned before, serve as an accelerator. So our expectation is that students are going to go to college, and that's what their expectation is. And with our teaching fellows, because they're college students as well, they have firsthand experience in the classroom, that there's an expectation level, that the bar is set, that there's a level of rigor in the classroom during the summer. And so many of our programs also serve school year program. And so there's supplemental, there's counseling, there's FAFSA advice and workshops, et cetera. So it's really all geared toward, we're going to accelerate you, we're going to put you on that pathway to college.
Lots of ways to help kids get to the place where you hope they can be. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
But putting so much passion and effort also into accomplishing everything you do. This is an ambitious goal of providing us with an additional 100,000 highly motivated science and math teachers by 2021. An inspiring educator with passion for science can influence students and their lives far beyond the classroom. Our next segment revolves around one individual who utilized a national STEAM contest created by Samsung to engage students and changed an entire community for the better. A community built around a small isolated village in Alaska.
In the far reaches of the southwest corner of Alaska lies a tiny village of Kokonok, where a small group of about 140 people live. 25 of them are students at the Kokonok School. Despite their remote location, these students seize the opportunity to enter a national education contest designed to boost student enthusiasm for science, technology, engineering, and math. The Kakenak School shows how participating in and winning the Samsung Solve for Tomorrow contest has transformed its students, the environment, and the future of its village.
Even more than the technology that the students won in the Solve for Tomorrow contest was the experience of what that did for our community, and really what's happened in our community since then. I'd like to see a global and a local focus here, really, and so really getting local teachers, some really local control of the school and what we're teaching, but also that global technology, science, math, that direction that we need to be heading as well.
What I remember most is them being really excited to go see the outside world.
We went to Washington, D.C. first for like part of a day, then we took a train from there to New York.
The contest asked the students to show how they can use science and math to help the environment in their community. Kakenak's response was to use math to address the spruce bark beetle epidemic that was devastating their local forests. They used algebraic equations to determine that 7 million dead trees must be removed to stop it. But the question of how to use those trees in an environmentally friendly way remained.
What can we do with this resource? It's a really bad problem, the spruce bark beetle problem, but what can we do with what they leave us? A thermoelectric generator. And what it does, it creates its own power, enough power to run the pump and charge a battery bank or tie into your system, charge your phones or your laptops or any other devices.
Winning the contest not only transformed how the students learned, it transformed the fabric of the community, building trust between the school and the community elders whose relationship had been marked with cultural conflicts in the past, and bridging the generation gap through a program that's reviving their native Yupik language.
I think the technology, and this contest is breaking down some of those barriers, has helped that relationship, and it's very indirect, but it exists. Our kids in our community just glowed. They just automatically went to Cloud 9, and every grandmother in the community, every mother and father just were so proud of their kids and so proud of this community and the village and our school, and I think it really created this atmosphere. I think if that contest did anything, and it did a lot, it gave them confidence that they'll carry with them the rest of their life.
That's fantastic, breaking down barriers that block pathways to education. After watching that, it's clear that when educators provide ingenious hands-on opportunities with STEAM-related programs, the results can be profound and radiate across an entire community. Another shining example is Citizen Schools, a nonprofit organization founded on bringing lower-income middle school students and their communities closer together through expanded education. They recruit volunteers called citizen teachers from community businesses, civic organizations, and communities, and train them to lead apprenticeship programs. Many of them are STEAM-oriented, with expanded middle school hours during the weekdays and weekends. Joining me now, Chanelle Baylor, Deputy Campus Director of the Eagle Academy. It's an all-boys citizen school in Newark, New Jersey, along with Piyush Modak, a laboratory engineer and volunteer teacher at the Eagle Academy, and Jacor Kreps, who apprenticed under Piyush to build a solar car. Welcome to all of you. Piyush, I want to start with asking you to tell us about what you are doing with the kids at Eagle Academy. How are you changing lives for them?
So what I do is I spend 1.5 hours every week with the kids, and I teach them about solar cars. That's what my apprenticeship is. And in the apprenticeship, what happens is we teach the students to talk about the engineering design process for solar cars, and what that does, it helps the students get hands-on experience in developing engineering skills.
And you don't come from the school itself. The whole point of citizens volunteering, you have another background that we should be learning about. Share that with us.
So I am a laboratory, actually a manager at Endomedics. It's a startup medical device company, and I have been educated as a biomedical engineer, and also my bachelor's in computer engineering. And what I have learned is that you really need to develop problem-solving skills early, early in this. I'm sorry. Problem-solving skills very early, and that's why I feel really strongly about coming to this program.
And Chanelle, at Eagle Academy, you bring in so many people like Piyush. And What is it that you think that the boys, and we can talk about why it's an all-boys school, but what do you think the boys are gaining from this kind of experience? And I'm going to ask Jacor specifically in just a moment about that.
So the boys are actually gaining access to those individuals. They're in those fields, so they're scientists, they are doctors or lawyers or business individuals, so the boys get to see that. It's actual tangible to them, and it's something that's more real. They're not used to seeing those type of careers.
That is a key element, I think, here, because kids tend to emulate what they see. And if you haven't put people of these different kinds of academic backgrounds in front of them, how are they supposed to know? So it's important in your school.
Absolutely.
And do you find that the kids, do they gravitate to it immediately, or are they a little shy about it at first?
Sometimes they are a little bit hesitant. Our older kids have had citizen schools for the last 3 years, so they know what to expect and kind of know that process. For the 6th graders, they're kind of, trying to learn what this process is like for them. But once they do get to know those individuals, they do become very much used to seeing those faces.
Talk to me about the elements of STEAM learning that go into solar car apprenticeship.
Correct. So for solar cars, that's just one of the few that we have on campus. That one is actually an apprenticeship that Ms. P taught and Jacor was a student in. So that one was specifically preparing the students, like the process and problem solving and going through that project to design their own solar car for a competition.
And Jacor knows that this is television, so it's show and tell. And so you brought something with you, right? Tell me what you have with you.
Well, right here, this is actually the solar car that I actually made from Eagle Academy from 7th grade. And right here, this is actually the motor to power the solar car by itself. These are the batteries, so it can power the motor to move. I brought in the solar panel because, say if I wanted to do it outside, I didn't have to use my batteries. I could have used the solar panel because it's powered by the sun and it's a renewable resource. Now, right here, as y'all see the 2.5, that's my gear ratios for my wheels, so I can see how fast it will move per mile.
You're speaking a different language for me here. I'm not quite sure what you said, but I'm sure it works. When you got into this, did you think that this was something that you could really be involved with?
No, at first, I didn't want to be in solar cars. I wanted to be in culinary arts because I like to cook. But as the weeks got on, Miss P actually helped me out and actually got me liking solar cars. And I started getting interested and started actually wanting to build my own solar car.
And you have to use a lot of math. Were you shy about math at first?
No, because math is my favorite subject.
Oh, wow, this is golden for you. And Miss P, he says that you brought him into this. You showed him something about how this can not just be something intimidating, but it can be fun.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
And do you find that the other boys, and I want to ask Chanelle this specifically, is it important that you have an all-boys school? And why is that so significant in this particular kind of learning?
Absolutely. So Eagle Academy, the one in Newark, is one of 6 other Eagle Academies. The rest are in New York. But we know that from statistics that boys don't very much do well in school. So they haven't been taught in a way that sets them up for success. So Eagle Academy, along with citizen schools, we bring in that hands-on learning. We bring in the engaging techniques that those boys need to thrive. So that's why it's really important.
Oh, it's fantastic. Thank you all for being here. It looks like everything is starting to pay off for the program and certainly for you, young man. It's not surprisingly that Miss P has received a President's Service Award for her volunteer education work with underserved students like Jacor. Developing tomorrow's STEAM teachers and making science and math cool to kids will continue to be the central thrust of this hour of our broadcast. The benefits of activating students and, as we just saw, young minds with an interest and passion for science will serve the students in school and far beyond as they advance through successful careers. Let's move STEAM conversation from the Newark, New Jersey public schools to mountains of California. And our next story of champions from KVIE in Sacramento, California, will meet an ingenious woman who created an elegant student project which marries science, math, and the arts into one inspiring composition.
The Prelude for Yuba Salmon was really a marriage of 2 different curriculums, both an outdoor field study, studying the ecology of the Yuba River watershed, and then creating a piece of music about that. The beginning of the idea was me trying to bring together music, art, science, community, and seeing really what happened. It was really an experiment. There were 10 students who wrote for orchestra, and then those pieces were performed during our summer festival.
There's something just so emotional about this group of kids that got this amazing opportunity to write music for an orchestra, and seeing that music performed in front of this screen with images, I don't think there was a dry eye in the audience.
I think that's one of the things that we're missing the boat on with young people nowadays, is that we're missing those linkages of the things that are going to inspire them to look at the world and solve the problems that they face. That's what I hope comes out of this project.
As we've seen in this last half hour, that STEM-related subjects are everywhere in our lives. In fact, from the northern reaches of Alaska to the bustling street of New York City, technology plays an integral part of our work and play. Lauren, are you ready for some teen tech talk?
Absolutely. We're so excited to be out here with robots and these fantastic smart women. You gotta love fantastic and smart ladies. Introduce yourselves. Where are you from?
Hi, I'm Rebecca Hannon. And I'm Olivia Breglia. We're from Ossining High School.
Is that where you came up with the name? Pretty creative.
Yeah, the Obot.
So is this your first robot?
This is actually our third robot. Yes, this is our third robot from last year. Last was our third year doing it. This would be our fourth year.
So what is it like at this point to have gone through so many robots? You're robot pros.
Well, it doesn't really seem like pros yet, because every year there's something new to learn. This past season I worked on learning about the pneumatics of the robot and different air compression and stuff.
So now the robot actually comes in all sorts of parts. You don't have any kind of manual, right?
No, not at all. It's all design it on your own. You have all these different options, all these different materials that you can choose from.
Are you overwhelmed when you first get all the parts?
Yeah, at first it's the whole team of engineers we have, of our student engineers, all break apart and we all design different things, multiple versions of things, so we can really see what's like the most efficient.
Well, I think the anticipation has been building long enough. What do you think, ladies?
Yes,
so
definitely.
Let's see what this robot can do. I know there's a couple different steps here, right?
Okay.
So let's start with step one.
Okay, so first we're gonna pick up the robot.
All right, so we're picking up the robot. Is it loading the ball right now?
It's loading the ball using spinning wheels and a little ramp that then the ramp raises to hold the ball inside the robot.
Are we ready to give this a shot? Can we fire away?
We can fire away.
All right, let's do this. Whoa! And a lucky winner on the streets of Manhattan gets to walk away with that ball. I'm just kidding. No, you need that,
They
right?
won the grand prize, didn't they?
So now, do they tell you when you do this that the robot has to perform this function? How does that work?
Well, at the beginning of each season, we get a mission. So the mission changes every year. And basically, if you want to elaborate on that? Yeah, so January 3rd, the new mission comes out for this upcoming season's robot. And from there, we have 6 weeks to design the robot and build it and get it all complete.
And speaking of 6 weeks, you actually compete in a big-time competition with these robots.
Yeah, we do. There's one in New York City, the Javits Center competition, and like 66 different teams came out last year.
Are you nervous for your robot for this coming competition?
Yes, definitely, definitely. There's a lot of aggressive robot drivers, and then there's a lot of pressure to get it right and perform the task at hand.
Does the robot have a special home in school, special classroom, special desk?
Yes, right now it's living in our old greenhouse that used to be used for bio. Now we've commandeered it and made it our own.
All right, well, we're going to have a lot more ahead on First, the amazing organization that is keeping these kids motivated and interested in science, engineering, and technology. It's all ahead right here on American Graduate Day.
As we continue our discussion on the importance of a rich STEAM education, we're featuring an organization that is focusing on the shortage of women in the field of computer science. The group is aptly titled Girls Who Code. Computers are a part of everyday life, so it is shocking that the number of girls choosing to pursue careers in computer science has been on the decline for the past 30 years. In 1984, women earned 37% of all computer science bachelor's degrees. But today that number has plummeted to just 12%. Since 2012, Girls Who Code's mission has been to reverse that trend. They are teaching girls that it is cool to be a geek. In their 7-week summer intensive program, girls become official techies. They actually learn to write their own programs and apps.
My final project is an LED umbrella that lights up every time the rain hits it. So if we can like target the Skittles at the sensors, it'll light up.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Representing Girls Who Code from New York's Silicon Alley is founder and author of Women Who Don't Wait in Line, Rehema Saljani. Joining her are 2 graduates of the Girls Who Code program, Helen Denisenko and Kenya Gordon. And Rehema, why do you think that women over the last 3 decades, it's a long time, and it's at the same time the field has been growing, why are they shying away?
Because we're pushing them out.
Why? What's happening?
You can still get dolls that say, I hate math, let's go shopping instead.
Oh.
If they flip the television screen, they don't see any images of women who look like them that are computer scientists or technologists. When you think about who runs Facebook, Square, Twitter, they're all men, right? And you cannot be what you cannot see. And our girls are listening.
So tell me, how does it work?
So we embed classrooms in technology companies. So every week, for 7 weeks, every day, the girls will go to Facebook or Square, AppNexus, AT&T, Goldman Sachs, and they'll learn how to computer program. They'll be exposed to female entrepreneurs from different industries. They'll go on field trips, anywhere from the NYPD to Teen Vogue to News Corp. And our success for us is graduating that program and majoring or minoring in computer science.
How is the Girls Who Code different from the Girls Who Code Club? What does the club do?
So the awesome thing about teaching girls is they want to teach other girls. We always say if you teach a boy how to code, he'll teach no one. If you teach a girl how to code, she'll teach at least 3. And so they walk out of this program, they say, this is amazing, how can I share this? And they go back to their schools or their community centers and they start Girls Who Code clubs, which is basically 2 hours of coding a week where we bring in an industry expert and we go through our curriculum.
So Helen, you were not interested in math, science, computer technology in high school. What happened?
Coming home from school one day, I got an email from my school about Girls Who Code. I looked at the website and I figured, why not give it a try?
And in 7 weeks, you wrote a program. Did that surprise you? How did you feel about that?
I was blown out of the water. I came in on the first day thinking, what am I doing here? I don't belong. I'm never going to be able to do anything that any of these other girls are going to be able to. But then, lo and behold, 7 weeks later, I had an idea and brought it to life. And then having had, built as much as I did, I was really proud of myself.
How has Girls Who Code changed you?
Well, I'm going to be going to college in the fall, and I'm going to be studying computer science. I completely fell in love with it, and I decided that that was where I needed to be.
And as we're saying here, all routes lead through technology these days. Kenya, what did you love? What captured your attention?
On the first day, they didn't tell us, oh, it's a lot of math, you have to do this, this is how you do it. It was kind of like showing us, like, this is how you can use it. This is where you can apply it. And it was like interesting to see that I can apply computer science to dance, which is like one of my passions. So it was like, wow, so I can do this with computer science. Okay, that's cool.
I understand the 2 of you have been working on something for us. What did you create? I suspect it's in there.
Yes, we have a surprise for you.
All right, I'm ready.
So this is a program that Kenya and I wrote together. And it is a mock Jackson Pollock work of art. So the circles here follow your mouse on the screen. You can fill up the whole screen, you can draw over it.
What fun.
Yeah, you can sit there for hours.
And I do know we have to move on, but I am just fascinated. This is just great fun. Rehema, what is your long-term goal for Girls Who Code?
We want to lead the movement to teach 1 million girls how to computer program by 2020, and we're well on our way. I want the next Facebook and the next Twitter and the next Square and to be created by women, to be created by Helen and Kenya.
I grew up thinking I couldn't do math, and you have such an advantage over me because I still can't.
And you probably could. I probably could. That's what I keep telling myself even now. I mean, I'm learning how to code, and I'm 38.
Yeah.
It's never too late. It really isn't.
Best wishes to you. This has been absolutely delightful. Well, are you inspired by Girls Who Code? Then start a club in your area. Log on to AmericanGraduate.org to get more information about Girls Who Code. Up next, we meet with 4-H to hear about the great work they're doing with their STEAM education programs. Please stay with us.
American Graduate Day, a live nationwide outreach event.
Education is #1 at New Hampshire Public Television. We're so proud to be a part of American Graduate Day.
Hi, I'm Mike Bloomberg, and I'm happy to be a part of American Graduate Day, a great opportunity to celebrate organizations across the country that are making a big difference in our students' lives. It gives me a chance to thank one of my favorite organizations in New York City, Public Color. My friend, Ruth Landy Schumann, founded Public Color in 1994 with a simple goal: engage students in their education by making schools more welcoming and more inspiring. She rounded up volunteers, including me and some colleagues at my company, to paint schools. When you visit a school Public Color has painted, it is instantly obvious the change that a few layers of paint can make. The hallways are bright and lively, but more importantly, the students are proud of their school, and that makes a big difference. Over the years, Public Color's mission and programs have expanded to include after-school paint clubs and college readiness programs. The organization has had a big impact. Just listen to these numbers. Public Color has painted 165 underperforming schools, which has benefited nearly hundreds of thousands of students and teachers. The students who take part in Public Color programs have a 94% graduation rate. That's considerably higher than other students in those same schools. And 65% of Public Color students actually use the painting skills they learn as a way to pay for college. Public Color brightens up schools and gives students an opportunity to paint the future they want for themselves. I hope everyone, no matter where you live, will become an American Graduate Day champion. Just like Public Color, you'll make a tremendous difference in the lives of our kids and in our future.
Public Color does an amazing job here in New York City, and our thanks to our former mayor, Mike Bloomberg, for highlighting and supporting that organization. You know, the thing about painting is that, to paint well, you have to prep well. And so you learn that lesson about the importance of preparation, and boy, you're ahead of the game, no matter where you are in school or where you go in life. So good stuff, Public Color. Welcome back to American Graduate Day. I'm Stone Phillips, continuing our conversation here on STEAM learning. Science begins with a sense of wonderment about the world that comes instinctively to young children. All the more reason to start early with 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, opening their eyes to the wonders of nature, letting their natural curiosity and questions guide them into scientific inquiry and experimentation. That's the thinking behind one of several innovative STEAM programs now being run by 4-H clubs. On the Wild Side provides lower-income city kids with hands-on experiences in nature to help these youngsters unleash their inner scientist. As they say in natural science circles, no child left inside. Get them out there where science is happening. Joining me in the studio is Marianne Bird, founder of the First On the Wild Side program out in Sacramento, California. Also with us, co-founder Gayle Craggs and Bonnie Lindgren. Bonnie's a former teen leader in the program and currently a freshman at Carleton College in Minnesota. And welcome to you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Marianne, let me start with you. What inspired you to come up with this idea, and how does the program work?
Well, really the inspiration behind it is not only to build science literacy and an appreciation of the outdoors for kids from urban settings, but really to help them to feel a sense of stewardship for the environment. And that only happens, you only understand things that you get to experience. So, really understand it on a deep level. So our 4-H on the Wild Side program happens in a camp setting over weekends. And we train teenagers, we recruit and train teenagers like Bonnie, who volunteer their time to research and put together lessons for the 4th, 5th, and 6th graders who come up to share the stars and the songs for the weekend.
These are kind of first-time experiences for a lot of these kids.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And the amazement and the wonderment of these kids when they see the Milky Way for the first time, or oftentimes we'll have them explore the wildlife in the lake, and they'll be out there with the fish nets and scooping up guppies and all different larvae, and they're looking at them through the hand lenses and just really feeling a sense of marvel over things that they don't normally have a chance to learn about themselves. So,
Gayle, you're a kindergarten teacher with some background in science and nature programs. How does experiencing nature engage these kids scientifically?
I think, just like Marianne was saying, being amongst nature and in nature, you're able to see the wonder of it. And when you're in a classroom, you don't have that. You don't have that hands-on experience. Yes, a teacher can bring some things in to help with that, but being right out in the midst of it is amazing.
So what kind of experiments do they do?
At the camp?
Yeah.
Well, we do testing of water testing for the pH in the lake, and we find out whether it's acidic or basic, different things like that. So they also do lots of hiking with exploration, and we have other types of things that they do. I can't think of any right now. Sorry.
Bonnie, what made you decide to get involved with this program?
Well, I heard about the program through a family friend, and I decided it sounded pretty cool. And I came to the meeting, and I didn't know anybody my age, and I was very shy. I used to be a very, very shy person. But everybody seemed really nice and really passionate about the program, and it seemed like a program that made a difference, and that is important to me. And so it was really easy to get involved in the program and to feel like a part of the family, you know, in a way. And
I understand you've come up with some clever ways to introduce scientific concepts and the scientific process to the kids. Playing some games? Tell us about one of those, if you would.
Yeah, so we have a lot of different activities. We like to do some that maybe have an art side, some that have a more inquisitional, like with magnifying glasses and everything. And then we always have a game to kind of have them get some of their energy out. And so one of them that we did recently was about turtles. And so they got to experience kind of what the life of a turtle would be like, and some of the difficulties of being a turtle and some of the challenges that they would face in trying to continue their lives.
And making a game out of it always makes it more fun and more accessible.
Exactly, and it makes them be able to connect with the material in a different way. So.
Marianne, what do you think is the most valuable part and the most rewarding part of this program?
Well, two things come to mind. One is that the learning is really authentic for these kids. So they come away really knowing and understanding in a new way because they have created the information on their own. They've discovered it themselves. And I think that's really important. In science, we don't have the answers to things. Scientists look for the answers. And in 4-H on the Wild side, we don't teach about science. We allow kids to be scientists and to discover things on their own.
Well,
and the other really...
I was going to say, what a great
it
approach.
is. And I think the other really important thing is that there's a lot of relationships that are built through the program, especially with the teenagers.
Well, that's obvious from talking to you, Bonnie. Thank you all for taking on this rather brief walk on the wild side, but sounds like a great program.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
To join the conversation on the different ways to explore our world through STEAM learning and the hands-on approach to science, text us or join us on Facebook. We hope you'll do that. Now another champion story from our sister station in New Jersey, NJTV. Robert O'Donnell uses the outdoors, specifically a nearby reservoir ecosystem, for his teaching platform. Through interrelated hands-on STEAM activities, this American graduate champion challenges his students to put on their thinking caps and their waders.
My name is Robert O'Donnell. I'm a science educator at the Kristen McCall School, PS28 in Jersey City. This isn't work. I get up in the morning and it's always an adventure. I'm passionate about kids and I'm passionate about animals, and I'm blessed in a position where I can kind of mend both. Most of my experiences in science come from hands-on experiences. I feel it's important to put those kids in the same situation that I was in and try to develop different programs that actually foster development of STEP concepts a little faster than it developed in me. A lot of Project Reservoir is based in the classroom and based here at Reservoir Number 3. Teams are working on different aspects of environmental science. All 4 teams have their own Weebly site that they manage. They upload their pictures, their YouTube videos, and that's their communication system with basically the world. We're able to establish 2 different aquaculture rooms within the school. There, the kids develop their technologies. They find solutions to problems that they basically identify here.
The aluminum makes the heat for the mosquitoes to attract.
It's a perfect blend of both in-classroom-based STEM activities and also this outdoor classroom that we've been successful in creating here for the students at PS28, and hopefully to involve many other students around the city and beyond.
Mr. O'Donnell's a really great science teacher. He inspired me so much to join the project.
And he teaches actually in a really fun way, in a way that you actually really do want to learn stuff.
It comes in like that, and maybe it's here. And then I think STEM-based activities, put the kids in control of what they want to be done and what they foresee in their environment. And then from there, they develop that spark. They can take that and use that to ignite the rest of their future.
Robert O'Donnell, another American graduate champion engaging students with STEAM-related learning activities. Thank you, Robert. In our next segment, STEAM plus grit plus teamwork equals extraordinary accomplishment for a special group of Mexican-born students from an Arizona high school. They entered an underwater robotics contest and went head-to-head with teams from some of the nation's top colleges, including a team of engineering whizzes from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Their journey and remarkable results are truly inspiring. And here's a terrific excerpt from a new documentary called Underwater Dreams.
They were a ragtag robotics team, the Mighty Falcons of Carl Hayden Community High School, located slightly west of Phoenix, Arizona, and slightly north of the desert. But here now, in Santa Barbara, up against some of the best engineering programs in the country, this was a first for them. They had no idea what to expect.
Some of them come from real fancy schools, like MIT, and some of them come from inner city schools. Carl Hayden was an example of one of these schools.
Who would have thought you would have had an underwater robotics club in Arizona in the middle of the desert?
The boys entered the venue and were blown away.
When we first walked in, we saw the other robots, and they were like pieces of underwater jewelry.
Most of them look professionally machined.
Chrome, stainless steel.
The MIT robot was impressive looking. I mean, it was custom made, and it was even like anodized, and it had a bunch of logos and stickers from the sponsors, and I think ExxonMobil was on there. No, that was a little intimidating.
I had no idea who MIT was or who Caltech was.
It's MIT. Manhattan Project.
We were just blown away. We thought, wow, we're never going to be able to do anything in this competition.
When we walked in, we were different.
Yeah, we definitely felt out of place. Our accent was definitely something that stood out there.
And I had never seen that much white people. Nobody was Mexican or Hispanic or Latino. We had a Iranian teacher. He probably looked Mexican.
The boys had a primitive robot made out of red, white, and blue PVC. It was pretty ugly. And it was cheap too.
Ours was PVC pipe. I mean, the stuff you can get at Home Depot.
We made our robot with a hacksaw.
Had garish colors and paints on it.
PVC pipe with a little bit of CPU and a lot of cable.
Basically, primary color, cube. Stinky got its name because when we were ready to assemble it, we all got in this little room and used PVC pipe glue.
So it smells really, really bad and really, really strong.
It just stunk in there pretty bad.
We looked like the carnival had arrived. Just a raggedy-ass robot. Looked like we just pieced together everything from a junkyard.
Ours looked like crap.
Well, that ragtag high school team taking on the big boys and big girls from MIT and Caltech was supported by First Robotics. The organization engages 250,000 kids each year, ages 6 to 18, competing in robotics at different levels nationwide. At the high school level, 8,000 students, guided by 2,800 professional mentors, comprise some 400 robotics teams. The competitions run like a major sporting event. Arenas packed, fans cheering, champions crowned. Are you ready for some football? Robotics? Joining me now in the studio, co-founders of First Robotics Competition, Woodie Flowiers, Professor Emeritus at MIT, and Dean Kamen, an acclaimed innovator and inventor of the Segway. I love that machine. Also joining us, Luther Banner, a student at MIT and a former First Robotics High School champion. Welcome to you all. Dr. Flowiers, I want to start with you because I know this national competition really grew out of work you had your MIT engineering students do years ago.
It was back in the 70s, in the heyday of engineering analysis education, and some of us wanted to make sure that the students not only got good analytical thinking, but got in touch with their creative skills. So we gave them a kit of materials and said, build something to accomplish a task. Wasn't too surprising that MIT students would compete like crazy, but it was really wonderful to note that they accepted the challenge of not only competing like crazy, but treating one another graciously in the process. They worked together, taught each other everything they know.
You know, I think about that concept of teamwork and, and hands-on experimenting. I mean, how important are those to technological achievement?
That's what it's all about. That's what you're doing. That's what we're doing now. Every job that's out there likely does that. It doesn't, if you're a history professor, you better know enough technology to communicate your lesson to people through technology. Just about everything we do is deeply seated in both technology and society. And FIRST is about both those things.
Dean, tell us what FIRST stands for and why you decided to team up with Woodie to launch this competition.
So FIRST, the word is for inspiration and recognition of science and technology. What's particular about it is the word education is not in it. I'm an inventor. What do inventors do? Inventors look at the same problem everybody else look at and see them differently. And even back 25, 30 years ago, this country was still, as it is today, wringing its hands about the education crisis. My mom's a teacher. To this day, I spoke to her this morning, a good, a passionate, a dedicated teacher. And she was pretty tired of being the butt of what society was saying was our problem. And I looked around and said, you know, it's unlikely that the richest country in the world, which has more schools and better schools and all the great universities, it's unlikely that suddenly this country went from having great education to terrible education. So I asserted that we don't have an education crisis at all. We have a culture crisis. We became a country that had been for 200 years the conspicuous inventors and creators of wealth, to becoming the country that is the conspicuous consumer of wealth. And that kids in this country, frankly, had lost their edge because they'd been distracted by a world in which only two things create superheroes in that media age that had begun, the world of sports and the world of entertainment. And I said, what if we could turn sports and entertainment to put their focus on science and technology? What if we could take engineering and mathematics and inventing and creating and put it in a format that kids love, an exciting competition that at the end of the season you don't get a quiz or a test, you go to a double elimination tournament, you bring the cheerleaders, you bring the school bands, and what you really need in the world of science and tech that kids didn't have is superstars. They have superstars from the NBA and the NFL and Hollywood. Where are the superstars of science and tech? So I said, if I can go out to the big universities and the big corporations and find superstars of tech, put them in front of kids in an environment that's fun and appealing, kids will instantly realize that science and engineering and problem solving is every bit as fun, rewarding, exciting as bouncing a ball.
And the competition, that competitive aspect of this, Luther, is kind of what draws you in. I mean, you were a high school football star in St. Louis, and I guess you were sidelined by an injury and then decided to get involved with a robotics competition. And I'm not sure which was more competitive.
You better answer this right.
I would say that it was a lot harder to be successful as far as competition-wise in FIRST, because there's just so many bright minds, and like we get in this environment where you pull in all these smart kids into one room and get them all focused on one task, and you know it's that moment, that aha moment, like when everyone realizes that, well, you know, alone, yes, I probably could have generated a pretty good answer to this problem, but working together with everyone, we created something that we couldn't have imagined, you know, beforehand, before we joined together to tackle this task.
And your team won the award that's named after you, Dr. Flowiers, and that's for That's for teamwork.
Well, actually,
it's for professional graciousness, right?
They knocked it out of the park. That in 2012, Luther and his colleagues won. One of their mentors won the Woodie Flowiers Finalist Award. Kathy did a great job, and they wrote a great essay. They won the regional competition, but they also won the Chairman's Award, which is an exemplary award. It has more to do with the best relationship with community than the robot. So FIRST is not about robots. Robots are the campfire around which the tribe gathers. They're an excuse to do something really big together.
Well, congratulations to you. Good luck with your continued studies at MIT, and thanks, gentlemen, for coming and talking about this. I hope we've stirred up some fever about robotics and this kind of competition.
That's why we do too.
I think that'd be great. Well, you know, in this hour, we have covered 4 very different kinds of programs dedicated to creating interest and educational opportunities for students who otherwise might not have had the motivation or the access to explore STEAM. We hope you choose to continue the conversation online and on social media. Experts in the field are ready to take your questions, so head over to facebook.com/AmericanGraduate right now and make your voice heard. We are going to recognize and salute our American Graduate champions from organizations who have joined us so far in the program. That's what we're doing, and in this last hour we have added significantly to our forces. Our champions count now stands at 2,211,998. Wow. Your efforts to support a higher graduation rate are applauded and appreciated. We thank you. Now let's roll the program outside to Lauren Wanko, who's with the president of First Robotics, Don Bossi, who appears to have brought along a sample of what we've just been talking about. Lauren?
Yes, we are at a team here, the Robo Control Room. I think that's the fair thing to call it. What do you think?
It's a good name.
I'd love to talk a little bit about some of the success stories that you yourself have heard. Tell me a little bit, because you've made such a great impact on students' lives. What comes to mind?
Well, I was going to say is obviously the impact we have goes beyond igniting passion the kids never knew they had, all the way to helping them turn their lives around. And one story that comes to mind is of a young woman here in New York City. Let's just say she had a number of problems and had been kicked out of a number of schools and was kind of at her last chance high school. And she sort of serendipitously happened to come across the robotics team and got to become a member. And
I think I have to break this up here. I'm so sorry, because I think something else wants to
I was going to say, something else is
Obviously,
here.
Don, this is the end of our conversation and the beginning of something new. Guys, what are we looking at here? First of all, Team Robo Tigers.
Yes.
Where were you from?
We're from Long Island City and Queens Vocational Technical High School.
So tell me, what does this robot do? Because they seem similar, right? We've seen a number so far, but they're all very different in terms of design.
Well, they shoot the ball, but our robot is a little bit different because it intakes the ball using this lever that brings in the ball, and then it shoots it out.
All right, well, you know what? I think I need to give this a shot. What do you think, Don? I am making you host for this segment by handing over the microphone. All right, let's check this out. Let's see if I could do this. What do I, just stand position here? Hands up? Do I get a second try if this is not working? How'd I do? Was that good?
Good job.
All right, now we actually end up, I'll take this mic back from you. Now, do we actually have to put the ball back in front of the robot and it feeds it? Can we see how that works? Oh, that's great. So let's talk a little bit, let's turn this robot around. Does the robot have a name?
Yes, Master Roshi.
Okay, now, why does he have a webcam? It looks like a webcam.
That's for positioning of the goal, positioning of the robot to shoot into the goals. That big ball that goes into the slot.
Now, how has the robot done in competition so far?
It's done actually really well, better than we expected.
Do you have a new design planned?
Well, we don't know what game is coming for us in January.
All right, well, we've got all that and a whole lot more here on American Graduate Day.
Hello again, I'm William Brangham, and thanks for staying with us on American Graduate Day. As we continue our discussion on the importance of a STEAM education, let's take a look at a unique program that's located in one of the poorest areas of the country, the Hunts Point section of the Bronx. The organization is called Rocking the Boat. They're making waves by instructing students through STEAM-related subjects using boat building, navigation, and environmental projects designed to help restore the Bronx River. As they say at Rocking the Boat, Kids don't just build boats, boats build kids.
Rocking the Boat's primary way of getting kids through high school to graduation and on to next steps in life is by giving them really, really compelling, dynamic reasons to stay in school. And coming to Rocking the Boat after school and learning all these amazing things and having all these amazing experiences and having to be in school in order to do it is a pretty powerful incentive.
This is awesome. It's the community, how we treat each other as family.
I feel like they made me who I am today.
We build real wooden boats from scratch. That includes designing them, laying them out on lofting boards. It involves using all the tools in the shop. We then use the boats to do a whole range of maritime skills. So that includes rowing, navigation, steering, knot tying, everything you need to know in order to use a boat safely. We've built about 48 different rowing and sailing and paddling boats.
A lot of people look at me and I tell them, I build boats. Their first reaction is, you're lying, you're a little girl. No.
When we launch a boat, it feels like you're on top of the world and that you can do anything.
I felt proud because I looked at the boat and I was like, yeah, I did that. I did that.
The greatest connection to high school academics, math, science, is not so much, oh, I learned this at Rocking the Boat and now I'm better at math in school, as much as I learned that math has a purpose at Rocking the Boat. I learned that science isn't just something I need to learn so I can pass the test. It's something that actually matters.
Everything we do is math-based, whether it be taking a measurement or reading an angle. Also, I would consider it hands-on engineering because we need to build things that are structurally strong enough to support the forces that are put onto the boats. I think it's a very unique opportunity for kids to be able to see that hands-on, not just mathematically in the classroom with diagrams, but actually seeing it, experimenting with it, and also seeing failure and having to improve the design.
We do all sorts of chemistry, biology in my program. We do all sorts of calculations, math. We work in different units of measurement that the students may not have heard of before. So we cover a lot of bases.
First pH is 8.0.
Today, for example, we were out sampling pathogens and doing water quality. So we're looking for bacteria levels in the river, which are tied to influx of sewage, which is also tied to weather events on the Bronx River.
The water quality stuff, I learned a lot here and in my chemistry class when we were doing those kind of stuff. I was answering most of the questions there. I'm like, oh, I know this because I did it at Rocking the Boat.
We're in Hunts Point. It's the poorest zip code east of the Mississippi, 10474. It's in the poorest congressional district in the nation, and the social and economic issues that exist here are all that you can imagine. I think there's a 35% on-time high school graduation rate. Rocking the Boat's 100%. This is about the toughest place you could live in New York City, and that's the reason why we're here.
There's a greater need than what just the boat builders or the environmental program directors can provide. So the social workers come in and do individual counseling with every student. We check in with them. We also run groups related to socio-emotional things that we're seeing. We also do college access and fill in any gaps that the schools have.
I had to read the book Moby Dick, and Liz was right there with me. Liz bought the book, I bought the book. We used to come here like almost every single day, and she used to help me read that book.
When I came here, I came with a visa. So with that visa, I wouldn't be able to go to college today, but she helped me get all my green card and stuff. So that was really, really great that she did for me. It's because of her that I'm going to college.
Oh, if it wasn't for Liz, thank goodness Rocking the Boat.
When I got into the Rocking the Boat, I learned a lot about myself. And what I learned about myself is that I'm a good team worker. I bring groups together and I lead them. I have a lot to contribute to a team. So that's also very good to me because it shows that I'm worth something.
I don't really think I would graduate high school without them because it was, you know, they really helped me a lot.
You learn that you as a person
you don't feel that great by yourself, but with these, you feel like you're a part of something.
Rocking the boat gave me the American dream. Now I'm going to college. I'm having a pretty good future ahead of me.
I'm worried about my education. Rocking the boat's pushing me to do it, so why not make them proud, right?
American Graduate Day, a live nationwide outreach event